Welcome to Santi Peaceful Mathematics. In my previous video, we have talked about the bilinear transformation. As you know that the bilinear transformations are defined as T of z equal to az plus b upon cz plus b, where ad minus bc is non-zero. In previous one of the video, we have discussed that there exists a unique bilinear transformation which maps three distinct points z1, z2 and z3 into the extended z plane onto the three distinct points w1, w2 and w3 in extended w plane respectively. That means if you want to find out the map from these 3 points onto these 3 points, then that map has to be unique and there has to be a unique bilinear transformation is there. That we have discussed. In this lecture we are going to discuss some special type of bilinear transformation. So we are developing a general bilinear transformation which maps a specific region into z plane onto a given region in the w plane. For example, let us take this as a first theorem or a proposition. We can say that the set of all bilinear transformation that maps an upper half plane, that is imaginary part of z greater than 0 onto open disk more w less than 1 and the boundary imaginary part of z equal to 0 onto the boundary mod w equal to 1 is given by w equal to e power I alpha z minus z0 upon z minus z0 bar, where this imaginary part of z0 is greater than 0 and alpha is a real number. So this question says that map, you need to find out all bilinear transformations which are mapped from upper half plane to an open disk. That means you have, this is your z plane. Now the upper half plane is this, transform to an open disk, that is this. So this upper half plane is transforming to this under this map, that is we need to find out. And also the boundary, that is imaginary part of z equal to 0, that is this boundary, that is y equal to 0, is transformed to a boundary of this circle, that is mod w equal to 1, which is given by this expression. This is a special kind of bilinear transformation that we are finding. That means all those bilinear transformations which transform to upper half plane to a unit open disk and x-axis to unit circle. So that is, we need to find out all the bilinear transformation which having this property. So let us assume that w is equal to az plus b upon cz plus d is the given bilinear transformation, where this ad minus bc is not equal to 0. Now given that this map, that is imaginary part of z, this map is transformed imaginary part of z onto mod w equal to 1. So that means imaginary part of z is transforming to this circle. And we have discussed in my previous lecture that if you want to construct a bilinear transformation, you require 3 distinct points and its images. So let us choose any 3 points which are lies on this y equal to 0 line. So by simplicity I am taking 3 points. The one of them is z is equal to 0, another one is z is equal to 1 and the last one is z is equal to infinite. So I am choosing these 3 points on this line and try to find out what are the images of that point under this map, under this transformation, that is bilinear transformation. So let us calculate that. So what will happen if z equal to 0? So by choosing, so we are choosing these 3 points, that is z is equal to 0, z is 1 and z is equal to infinite. So now putting z is equal to 0 in this w equal to az plus b upon cz plus b. That will gives you w equal to b by d. But what is the things is, all the points on this x-axis is transformed to a unit circle. That means this mode of w has to be 1. So that means this mode of w is 1. As mode of w is 1, this will gives you mode of b by d is equal to 1. That will gives you mode of b is equal to mode of d, which is non-zero. Why this is non-zero? Because this quantity is 1. So that's why this is non-zero. Now by putting z is equal to infinity in w equal to az plus b upon cz plus. Now this I can write down because I need to put the infinitive here. So that's why I have just write down this is a plus b by z upon c plus b by z. Now if you put z is equal to infinitive, that is gives you more w is equal to a by c. As this mode of w equal to 1 will gives you mode of a by c is equal to 1, because this point has to be transformed to any point on that unit circle. So that's why the mode of a by c is equal to 1, and that will imply mode of a equal to mode of c, and which is also non-zero. So therefore we have these two conditions. The first one is this, that is this, and the second one we have this. Now using these two conditions, that is we have it is mode of a by c is 1, and due to this a by c is equal to mode of b by d, this will implies mode of b by a is same as mode of d by c. Now using this quantities, what we can say is w, that is az plus b upon cz plus b. If I common out a from the numerator, we'll have z plus b by a, and if you common out c from it, this is z plus d by c. Now this a by c is 1, mode of that is 1 that we have here. So any number which having the modulus 1, suppose that there is number alpha plus I beta, its modulus is 1, then I can write down this is number as alpha plus I beta is equal to e power some number, let's say theta. Any number which is of this form, whose modulus is 1, that can be represented in this manner, in the polar form. So this a by c I just write down as e power I alpha. Now this b by a equal to, I just call it as minus z1, and d by c I am just calling it as minus z2. So that's why this is z minus z1 upon z minus z2. This is the quantity we get. Now what is the relation between this z1 and z2? Due to this, we'll have the mode of z1 is same as mode of z2. That we can note here. And alpha is the real number, which is alpha belongs to any real number you can take here. Now the last one is left, that is the third condition that we have not used, that is, as we have assumed the 3 points, the last point was that is equal to 1. So w is in this situation, it is e power I alpha 1 minus z1 upon 1 minus z2. I substitute this z is equal to 1 here. Now mode of w equal to 1, this point has to be fall on the circle with radius 1. So that's why mode w is 1, that will implies e power I alpha 1 minus z1 upon 1 minus z2 is 1. Since the mode of this quantity is already 1, so that's why it is mode of 1 minus z1 upon 1 minus z2 is equal to 1. So that's why it is 1 minus z1 equal to mode of 1 minus z2 we have. If I take the square both the side, so that's why it is 1 minus z1 into 1 minus z1 bar equal to 1 minus z2 into 1 minus z2 bar. So that's why this will gives you 1 minus z1 into 1 minus z1 bar because of z1 plus z2 bar is equal to z1 bar plus z2. With this property we can write this. Similarly on this side also we have this. This will imply is 1 minus z1 minus z1 bar plus z1 into z1 equal to 1 minus z2 minus z2 bar plus z2 into z2 bar. Since this mode of z1 and z2 are same, so this quantities are same because we know that mode of z square is z minus z into z bar. So that's why these two quantities are cancelled out. 1 is also cancelled. So hence we have z1 plus z plus z1 bar is equal to z2 plus z2 bar. Now as you know that z plus z bar will gives you a real part of z1 and that other side is real part of z. Because if z is equal to x plus iy, then z bar is x minus iy. If you add this two, you will have z plus z bar which is 2x. That's why x is equal to z plus z bar by 2. So you have 2 will cancel out to the side. So that's why we have the real part of z1 is same as real part of z. And with the condition mode of z1 is equal to mode of z. These two conditions will gives you z1 is equal to z. Because see this if z1 is x1 plus iy1 and z2 is x2 plus iy2, where it says that a real part of z1 is same as real part of z2. That means these two quantities are same. That means x1 is same as x2. Now mode of z1 is same as mode of z2 will gives you x1 square plus y1 square is equal to x2 square plus y2 square. Since these two quantities are same, so that's why it is cancelled out. We will have y1 square is equal to y2 square. So that would be two possibilities are there. Y1 is equal to plus or minus y. Now there would be two possibilities. Either y1 is equal to y2 or y1 is equal to minus y2. y1 is equal to y2 is not possible because you have a function which is w is equal to e power I theta z minus z1 upon z minus z. And if this z1 is equal to z2, that means if the y1 is equal to y2, then these quantities are cancelled out and you will have left with e power I theta, which is a constant function. And we are not interested in the constant function. So that's why this y1 is equal to y2 is not possible. So the only possible quantity is y1 is equal to minus y2. That means z1 is equal to z2 bar. So therefore finally what we'll have is w is equal to e power I alpha z minus z1 upon z minus z1 bar is the final answer that we have. That is our requirement to calculate. Now this imaginary part of z1 has to be positive and alpha is belongs to r that we have. Because what we have, why this is needed, because if the image of points which are interior to circle, that is mode equal to 1, mode z is equal to 1, our images of the points are above the real axis. And that's why we conclude that the real part of the parabola has to be greater than 0, and any linear fractional transformation having this property, that means the image of the upper half plane is transformed to a circle inside and the boundary is transforming to boundary of the circle is must be of this form. That we conclude from this. Now it is remained to show it is a converse part of that. So any linear transformation which having this property has described a mapping property, that is upper half plane to transforming to the inside the unit circle. That is easy to be done by taking its modulus. So if you take the modulus both side here, mode of w is nothing but the mode of e power I theta z minus z1 upon z minus z1 bar, which gives you mode of z minus z1 upon mode of z minus z1 bar. We'll have mode of w is equal to mode of z minus z1 upon z minus z1 bar. Now we need to show that this linear fractional transformation having that property, that means the upper half plane is transforming to the unit circle that is inside the unit disk, and the points on this boundary is transforming to this. So this is the map w is equal to e power I theta z minus z1 upon z minus z1 bar. To take the modulus, we have this. Now what will happen if mode of z minus z1 is less than mode of z minus z1 bar? What is the geometrically what we can say? If this is the situation, if your z1 is here and if your z1 bar is here, if z1 is here, the z1 bar is the reflection of that point with respect to x-axis. If your z is anywhere on the upper half plane, then it has to be satisfy this condition, because this distance is always smaller than this distance. But if the second situation is, if this is your z1 and this is your z1 bar, then if your z is here, this is your z, if z is here, then this distance is bigger than this one. That means mode of z minus z1 in this situation is greater than mode of z minus z1 bar. The third situation that we have, it is the point is on the real axis. That means z1 is here, z1 bar is here, then in that situation this distance is equal. So here you will have z1, mode of z1, z minus z1 is equal to mode of z minus z1 bar. So this will give you image will be w is greater than, w is less than 1, because this situation we have, and with this condition the w has to be less than 1. And if w is in this situation, w will be greater than 1, because you just observe that the numerator is bigger than the denominator, so that's why w is greater than 1. And in this situation you will have w is equal to 1. So it's conclude that the half plane, that is imaginary part of z greater than 0 onto the disk, mode of w less than 1, and the boundary of the plane onto the boundary of the disk. That's proofs. So with that, let's have one of the example of such type. Find the imaginary part of the image of mode of z greater than or equal to 0 under the transformation w equal to I minus z upon I plus z. So here you just observe that it is same like the previous example. If I can convert this is into that form, so what is that form is f of z we have in the previous example, we got this e power I alpha z minus z1 upon z minus z1 bar. So we have conducted or we have derived this expression this form. If we can able to convert this is into this form, then we are through. I just take common minus sign from the numerator, we will have minus 1 into z minus I upon z plus I. So I can write down this is minus 1 into z minus I upon z minus of minus I, which I can write as minus 1, I can write as e power I pi z minus I upon z minus I bar, that we can write, because minus I is I bar. So what we can say, and the imaginary part of zi, that is I is 1, which is greater than 0. So here is also we have imaginary part of z1 has to be greater than 0 and alpha has to be real number. We have, that is the situation now. So from this what we can say is this image of this upper half plane under this transformation, it is onto the disk with the radius 1. This is the image of this upper half plane is inside this portion. That's completely the proof of that with the solution for this example. Let's have another property or example. Let's have another example. Find all bilinear transformation which map the right half plane real part of z greater than 0 onto the open disk mod w less than 1 and the boundary real part of the z equal to 0 onto the boundary mod w equal to 1. Here the question is to calculate all the bilinear transformation that maps to real part is positive, that is half plane this, which transform to a open disk this, that we need to calculate. So what is the difference between the previous example and this example? You just notice that in the previous example we have to find out the images of the upper half plane which transform to a disk inside the disk points. So it's just a rotation about the 90 degree here we have. So you need to adjust your function in such a way that it has to be a rotation above the 90 degree. So if you want to do the rotation above the 90 degree of any function, then it has to be a function f of z. You just know that the rotation map is nothing but the alpha z. Whatever the amplitude of this alpha is there, that much rotation will be there. So if I want a rotation should be pi by 2 and there is no stretching, then I need to have e power pi by 2 into z, and e power pi by 2 that will gives you I. Here we have z, we'll have iz, and we know that the transformation that maps from this point on the upper half plane to this unit circle, it is defined as g of z e power I alpha z minus z1 upon z minus z1 bar, where imaginary part of z1 is greater than 0 and alpha belongs to r. I've just composed this to map, that is g o f, that is g of iz, which is e power I alpha iz minus z1 upon iz minus z1 bar, where real part of z1 greater than 0 and alpha is positive. This will gives you this function GOF will gives you all the points on this half plane to the points inside the disk. This is your required mapping. I'm giving you one more exercise here to do it yourself. That set of all bilinear transformation which maps unit disk to itself is given by W is equal to e power I alpha z minus z1 upon 1 minus z1 bar into z, where mode of z1 is less than 1 and alpha belongs to r. So here we need to calculate all the bilinear transformation which maps a unit disk to itself. That means all the bilinear transformation that maps a unit disk to a unit disk. That is the problem that I am giving you as a homework. So this you need to try yourself. In this video, we have discussed about the calculating some special type of bilinear transformation, especially those bilinear transformation which transform to upper half plane to a unit disk. And also in the second example, we have seen that the right half plane to a unit disk, and how to calculate such bilinear transformation that we have discussed. That's it for this video. If you have liked this video, please press the like button. If you have any comments, suggestions or a question, please drop down in the comment box below. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, sign off.